So we are continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 3, Chapter 3. Now today we are starting with a new chapter, Chapter 3. Now in this we have come to know certain number of stories about Sri Krishna. Last time we did yesterday. Now today we are going to do excerpts of stories from different parts of his life. So which means from childhood up to his marriage and beyond. Some small stories. So these are nothing but a collection of thought processes which Uddhava was having. Remember, Uddhava is one person who has continued to be with Krishna from childhood. He was a gopi. And because he was of that, so he continued to have an understanding of Sri Krishna's life. And today we are going to understand more about how the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. This is a new chapter. So let us start today's satsang. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, verse 1. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter, Lord Sri Krishna went to Mathura city with Baldev, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of the public enemies, down from the throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. This is a story of after Akrura takes him from Vrindavan to Mathura. The idea was he has to be killed over there because of the Akashvani, the heads up given to Kamsa that somebody is going to do harm to him. And Sri Krishna goes over there with his brother Balram. And there is a very beautiful stories which we will be doing in the future also. When he reaches over there, what happens, how he meets Kubja and all that. And he goes to the palace, challenges Kamsa, and Kamsa and a few other Rakshasas are killed over there. So this is where the story is now continuing. So from the last chapter, we have come to this particular point. Now let us see what happens from the beginning. This is a very important part which we have to understand. So let us look at how Krishna lived his life. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, verse 2. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Now, Sri Krishna was trained in his childhood by Sandipani. In ancient times, there was a system of a Gurukul. Now, the Gurukul system, today it is not there anywhere. Hardly any place we have a Gurukul system. But Gurukul system is a place where there is a Muni. He is basically a knowledge base. That means he has got tremendous amount of knowledge. This system went on for many years, till the times of the British. Okay? Even the Buddhists adopted this same system. When they established the Nalanda University and the Takshashila and all that, in ancient times, even in places abroad, there were very beautiful schools. Like Babylon is known for a very beautiful city. But many people don't know that Babylon was as good as Takshashila or even Nalanda. One of the greatest teachers over there was Zoroaster or Zarathustra. We call him as that. And he trained kings and queens and absolutely all the people were trained over there and realized in India. Plus the Gurukul system has a principal guru. A guru manages everything. Shankaracharya had to go to a guru. Think like this. Almost everybody from the past, including Sri Ram. Sri Ram had a guru. The family guru was different than Sri Ram's guru. I'm sure you know this story. But anyway, I will just tell you, Vashishta Muni was the family guru. And also Vishwamitra. But Vashishta and Vishwamitra did not see eye to each other. That is the reason why there was a separation there. And I am sure you have heard of this Yoga Vashishta. It's a very beautiful scripture which we can do somewhere in the future if we have the time. So, during the time of Sri Krishna, that is in the Dwapar Yuga, his parents sent him to the school of Sandipani. Now, in these schools, what exactly is taught? There are principal arts, crafts, sciences, and different types of techniques that are imparted. If you know that there is a Dhanur Vidya, one of the subjects. Ayurveda, that's another one of the subjects. All the Ved Shastras are taught. Look at today's children. Does anybody's child in India know anything, even an iota about Ayurveda? Absolutely no knowledge. Even when they are sick, their parents will give them, paracetamol. Paracetamol is not Ayurveda. Okay? So these are artificial drugs which cannot be taken in large quantity. But Ayurveda is one of the subjects. Dhanur Vidya, the art of war actually, it's fighting with bow and arrow. Now you may say bow and arrow means everybody is trained for the purpose of fighting a war? No, you are mistaken. When Dhanur Vidya is taught, the art of focusing is taught. Have you ever thought of it? The art of focusing on objects, on your future is taught over there. When you use a tool like a bow and arrow, this is a tool which we use in our corporate world also. Not a bow and arrow, but different types of weapons are used so that people can win. Finances are taught, astrology is taught, astronomy is taught. Does your child even know an iota about astronomy? If you ask a child, a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, do you know anything? Okay, how much time would it take for a rocket to go from Earth to Mars and from Earth to, let us say, Mercury? He will not be able to tell you the answer. Why? Because he has no knowledge or she has no knowledge. This knowledge part is missing in our world. You will ask me the question, why should the person know whether is it going to give him a job? Think. Is that knowledge going to give him a job? Well, by learning Dhanur Vidya, it is not the job that is given. It is the way in which you see the problem and sort it out is told to you. Isn't that true? When you are told to aim, when you know, the focus is extremely important. There is a very beautiful story of Arjuna, isn't it? Where he was asked the question, all the disciples were asked the question, what do you see on that tree? The only person to answer this question correctly was Arjuna when he said, I can see the eye of the bird. That's it. That is called absolute focus. How many children have focus today in this world today? None whatsoever. Nobody has focus. And this was taught by Sandipani to Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna was literally the scholastic student of his who knew everything. No doubt he is God Almighty, but that doesn't give him the, that qualification that, okay, just because you are God Almighty, so you will know everything. No. Knowledge has to be learnt. The book has to be opened. The book, it needs to be opened for the person to see the knowledge. Today's children have no idea about this kind of a knowledge or an understanding. Because today we do not have a Sandipani or even a Vashishta Muni or a Vishwamitra. We don't have them. In our world, we are trying to create this. The children's program which we are designing, I am sure those who are privy to the knowledge will know what we are talking about. It is not the knowledge which is available in the streets or it is available in the books. It is a unique knowledge given by a master. So, how did he reward? It is always like this. When you join a Gurukul, the Guru Dakshana is a very, very important part of fulfilling that entire life of theirs. That means if I am taking training under a certain Guru, the Guru Dakshana is a must. So, no doubt, Krishna's parents paid the Guruji something with whatever land or cows or grains or whatever, the milk and all that. But Sri Krishna and his brother Balram went and asked the Guruji, what exactly do you want as a Guru Dakshana? And he said, I want a son who died many years ago. And Sri Krishna and Balram went to the depths of the oceans to find his son. And they brought him. So this is how he brought back his dead son from the region of the Yamaloka. Alright. Now we go to the next story of his, that is verse 3. Attracted by the beauty and the fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and the kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away the nectar. Now this is also a very important story which we will be doing in the future. But again, a small portion of it is given over here. Rukmini, who is the sister of Rukma. Rukma is her brother, and the father is Bhishmaka. Don't mix up names over here. So when there is a Swayamvar is a place where all the kings and everybody who is a contender, they come over there, and the girl is allowed the choice to select her bridegroom. And she goes around over there and finally she puts the mala in somebody's. But there is always a precondition. The precondition is the girl or the parents have a precondition that this particular thing has to be fulfilled. In case of Sri Ram, I am sure you know that the bow had to be lifted and broken. That is one. In case of Arjun, if you remember the story, he had to hit the eye of the fish by looking in the water below. The fish was up there, right? So these are preconditions that you have to fulfill them. So in case of Rukmini, she had sent a letter to Sri Krishna saying that I want to marry you, but you are not invited. Why are you not invited? Because my brother, that is her brother, is Rukma. His best friend is Shishupal. And Rukma wanted Shishupal to get married to his sister. Rukmini did not like it. So she sent a small letter to Sri Krishna asking him to come and visit her in a temple nearby, so that she can get married to him there instead of the main hall. And that is how he goes over there, and she puts the mala around his neck, and then he takes her away. So the king comes to know, Rukma comes to know, Shishupal comes to know, they go after him. And when they go after him, Sri Krishna tells Balram, you handle this. Balram alone is capable. He is a very great warrior, so he is able to handle all these people alone. And then Sri Krishna takes away Rukmini. This is a story. Now we will see the next one, verse 4. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnajit in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked for the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapon, the Lord killed and wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself. So one of his wives, if you remember, he has got 16,108 wives. How these wives came about also we will come to know. One of his wives over here is Nagnajit. Now Nagnajit was a princess again. Now Sri Krishna was also called over there, and during that particular ceremony he was able to defeat everybody by taking charge of the 7 bulls that were there. Now when they say they were not pierced in their noses, what does it mean? You see, normally in India we have the nose of the bulls, there is a rope drawn inside so that we can use it as a bullock cart, right? They are used for bullock carts. But if you have gone abroad and if you have seen the bullfights in different places, these bullfights happen without the nose piercing. So these are wild bulls. So these are 7 wild bulls which he killed. But nobody agreed to it. And then he had to fight all the princes over there who had assembled, defeated all of them, killed some of them, and then he took his wife Nagnaji. So this is one other story of his that we will know. Then the next one is, this is verse 5. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from the heaven just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wife, ran after the Lord with a full force to fight him. I am sure you remember yesterday's satsang where I told you that Sri Krishna behaved just like an ordinary mortal in front of everybody. So when his wife said, okay, I want this to be done. So what is it that she wanted? Now, his wife wanted the tree, the flowering tree from the heavens of Indradev. This is called the Parijata. A Parijata is a flower with the white petals and the stalk is orange in color, reddish orange in color. Okay, I don't know the real name of that flower, but if you search it, you will come to know. It's a small flower, white petals and orange stem. So he was able to take the tree from Indra's heaven, and while he was leaving, Indra came to know about it. Now, Indra did not have any idea about Sri Krishna, but let me tell you this much. So naturally, he was very upset about it. But later on, he comes to know that it is Sri Krishna himself who is doing it because his wife said so. So this wife is Satyabhama. Satyabhama is the daughter of Satyavrat. We will come to know her story later. Okay. Now Satyabhama is a very headstrong girl. Okay. And she always wanted something or the other. And always wanted to be a winner. So this is one of the specialities of Satyabhama. Rukmini was the quiet type. She was not involved in too much of activities. She was an intelligent person and she had a lot of knowledge and understanding of the subject. Satyabhama was a very, volatile kind of a person. And she could do a lot of things. We are going to see her story in the next one over here. Okay. So, because of Satyabhama, Sri Krishna had to go to Indra's heaven and bring down this Parijata plant from there. Now verse 6 says, Narkasura, the son of Dharitri, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son Narkasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. We'll see the next one because it's all combined. There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narkasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They look upon him with eagerness, joy and shyness and offered to be his wives. Verse 8 says, all these princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hand in the perfect ritual by his internal potency. And verse 9 says, just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities. Now this is something which we have to understand. Now here is a person who had misused his powers in the heavens. He was the son of a gopi in the heavens and one of the expansions of Radharani, her son. Now the unfortunate part was he became too arrogant. That is why he was born on the earth as Narakasura, an Asura. Asura means a demonic person. So when he was born as a demonic person, Narakasura, so at that moment in time, he got the power of winning anything and everything in this world. So at that given moment in time, Sri Krishna kills him, but he had already, put more than 16,000 women as his slaves in his harem in the jail. Now all these women, they were young women, so naturally they had to be released out once the demon was killed. But you can't do that in this material world, because their life will become insecure. So all these women, they say to Sri Krishna, you are such a handsome person, you are a great king, you killed even Narkasura. Can we marry you? So 16,000 women, they say that we want to marry you. Sri Krishna says fine. And in this we come to know that Sri Krishna created his own image 16,000 times. And he became a husband of each of those women. Alright? Remember, he is the Lord Almighty. He is capable of doing it. He is the only Purusha in this entire universe. You know that very well. This is the story which we have been hearing right from our childhood. So because he is so powerful, so he creates his image, he clones himself into more than 16,000 of himself and marries each and every woman over there. And each princess then begets 10 children. 10. Okay? And one girl. 10 boys and one girl. This is how the story is actually. So total 10 boys and one girl. and 16,000 into 11. You can calculate it yourself how much that figure will come to. Plus 108. Remember the 108 more of them. So this is how Sri Krishna has so many children. So in the Yaduvansh, all these boys were there, no doubt about it. And this is the way in which this entire family was created. So then we go to verse 10. Kalayavana, the king of Magadha and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura. And when the city was encircled by the soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally just to show his power of his own men. So what happens? Now this is another story where Kalayavana is a king of Magadha Desh. Magadha Desh is somewhere in central India towards Orissa side. Bihar, Orissa, that belt it is. So in the Magadha Desh, he is having his own kingdom over there. And because of Shishupal, he tries to conquer Mathura. Now when he comes over there, Sri Krishna comes to know about it well in advance. So he transports his entire kingdom, that means all the men, women and the children, from there to another distant place which is called Dwarka. It is near the sea. So more than, I think, 1,000 kilometers or so, the entire city was transferred over there. And then Kalayavana is not able to capture Sri Krishna over there. Sri Krishna was not at all interested in getting caught. So this is also one of the stories which we will be doing in detail. This is just a small trailer that we are getting today. So we will have to just go through it this way only. Verse 11, O king, like Sambara, Dvivida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons such as Dantavakra. Some were killed. Some he killed himself, and some he caused to be killed by Balram and others. Now here, these are great demons. I am sure you know the demon called Mura. And you may say, how do I know Mura? Well, do you know that Sri Krishna is also called Murari? You know, we have the song, Sri Krishna Murari. Huh? So, Mura is one of the demons he kills. Plus, there are others also. Okay. And all these demons are killed by him. Some he does it himself, and some are killed by his brother, Balram. Okay, verse 12. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the sides of the fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All these kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the warfield. Verse 13, Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushyasana and Saubala. And when he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs were broken. Although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. Now here, we are getting a small glimpse of Kurukshetra war, which is also a part of Sri Krishna's story. And remember, these stories are being remembered by Vidura and also by his kin, that is Uddhava. So Uddhava and Vidura, if you recollect what we were doing in the last chapter, Uddhava and Vidura are talking to each other. And they are talking about all these things. So that is the reason why we are just getting a glimpse of it. Little. So here, after all these demons were killed, Sambara, Dvivida, Bana and all that, this war is a subject of discussion. The war of Mahabharata, where Krishna offered equal opportunity to both the sides. That is the Pandavas as well as the Kauravas. He said to both of them, you have to decide. Now I also have to take part in this war. So you decide between my army and me. So if you take the army will fight on your behalf. But if you take me, I am not going to fight the war. I will just be a charioteer. That's it. So Duryodhan decides on the army. And Arjuna gets to be the person whose chariot is driven by Sri Krishna. So I hope you get this. And then finally in the end, when the war ends, Duryodhana is lying on the ground over there. And remember, his strength is so strong. He is such a strong person that he cannot be killed. But due to a certain action taken by Sri Krishna, when he is told about it to his mother, Duryodhana doesn't wear, he's worn one small kaupin kind of a thing, one undergarment, and that is the only place which becomes a weak spot because his mother is not able to see his entire body. And that is the way in which Bhim is able to cut him into two pieces and he dies over there. But this was a treacherous thing which was initiated by Sri Krishna. And because it was something done like this, that is the reason why the Lord was not happy to see him pass away. That is, when Duryodhana was dying, Sri Krishna was a little sad to see Duryodhana being killed like this. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Ashkaunis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be more unbearable burden. Now here you will find that, remember, his army was fighting on behalf of Duryodhana, and he was there with Arjun. So after the end of the war, he is talking to the people over there and he says, see, a lot of people got killed in the war. 18 Ashkaunis, that means crores of people were killed. Animals like horses and elephants and everybody who took part in it was slaughtered literally. A big mayhem was there. Now because war is like that, always war is a very dangerous thing. And because of the war, so many people lost their lives. So he is telling these people, that is Dronacharya, all these people who are there, the effect was there on Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama and everybody, isn't it? Everybody passes away. So all the good people also died during this war. Good people in the sense, they were great sages as well. So here Sri Krishna is saying, but one thing got left out. That one thing which got left out are the Yaduvansh. The Yadus themselves were left out in this. They also were a part of this, dharmic yuddha. They were on the part of adharma, isn't it? Now when you fight on behalf of the enemy, when you fight on behalf of the enemy, are you not a part of adharma? So Sri Krishna says, this adharmic thing has happened. My army of all Yaduvansh have fought on behalf of Duryodhana. And this is something which is not a done thing. Their kingdom is not yet destroyed. Even their king, who is he himself, Sri Krishna. This is one thing which is still balanced to be done. And destiny is such that it has to complete that task. If the war is over, that objective is finished. But it was not so. The Yadus had fought, but they had fought for something which they should not have done. But anyway, since it's a part of war, they had fought on behalf of the Kauravas, whereas he was on the side of the Pandavas. So, because this had to be wrapped up, so he says these words, verse 15. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, they only will disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, the incidents will take place. So, it is already programmed. Sri Krishna says, this is not a done thing. Whatever that the Yadus have done is not a done thing, and it has to be put to an end. So he said, when I am about to pass, that means when I am about to die myself, because I am a part of that whole scene, isn't it? Responsible for a lot of things. So when I pass away, I will ensure that my entire Yaduvansh, they drink themselves to death, they fight with each other, they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication. The intoxication, whenever a person drinks, he loses his sense. I am sure you know these words. When he loses his sense, everything goes out of the window. And the eyes will become copper because of drinking madhu, that is the liquor. Then only they will disappear. That is the only time when they will slaughter each other and kill themselves. Otherwise, it will not be possible. Because Yadus were very, very strong people. They were very headstrong people. They believed that, okay, they are the rulers of the world and all that kind of thing. So on my disappearance, this incident will take place. So we do verse 16. Lord Sri Krishna, thus thinking to himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthir in the position of the supreme control of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the path of piety. So after the Kurukshetra war, the installation of Yudhishthir happens under the control of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is always there around to ensure that Sri Krishna sees to it that Yudhishthir becomes the king, the emperor of India, the Bharatvarsh. All the kingdoms become subservient to him. I'm sure you know the story where he sends his brother Arjuna to all the kingdoms nearby and nobody is able to challenge him. That is the Ashwamedh Yajna that happens. So what we have done is we have done a lot of stories today in combination for you to get a rough idea about how Sri Krishna did what he was supposed to do in different places, from Vrindavan to Mathura to Dwarka to Kurukshetra and all these places. And we have come to the end of verse 16 and we will stop over here for today.
Recording stopped.